All right, let's take a look at the next part of Google Classroom, which will be creating Google Docs and Google Slides for your students to create as part of their assignment. So when you're in your Google Drive, you're going to click on New, and let's go down to Google Docs. And so it's going to create a document. Now, if you've used Google Docs before, pretty basic. Give it a title. So let's say we are working on multiplication today. And so let's give it a title. And then we want to make sure they put their name on it. Now, even though, you can put this on there, when you create a copy for each of the students, it'll automatically put their name in the title. But just to be sure, you may want to have them put their name on the document there. And then you're going to want to give them some directions. So read each question and work out in your journal. Show your work, then write correct answer in the document. And so that way they have somewhere to work out the problem and, showing their work, and you can go through and check their journals as they're working through the problems. And then they just put their correct answer in this document. And so we start with question 1, and let's say, okay, so Johnny went to the mall to buy some new school clothes. He bought 3 pairs of pants that each cost $12 each. How much did he spend on pants? So in their journal, they would work out and show their work. So they would be doing 3 times 12, and then they would write the correct answer. Now, they could also just put their, this isn't letting me. Okay, so then you could say, answer, and then they would put their answer here. So they could just show 3 times 12 equals 36. And so then if you want them to write a complete sentence, Johnny paid $36 for his new pants. And so then that would be their answer. Now, you're obviously not going to put the answer in there when you are creating this. You would just leave that blank and, go through and write all of your questions for the students. And then just like we did before, you would assign this to them in Google Classroom when you're creating that assignment. And you would set it to make a copy for each student. So that way each student had their own copy of this, and it would put their name up here at the top at the beginning of that assignment. Now, this is just, something, real easy to do. You can, set up your assignment however you want to, but this is just, one way to do a Google document assignment. Or you may not want to, give questions. You may just want to give them an assignment. So if this is for, writing, you may tell them, write a story about something that you learned over the summer, and and then whatever prompt you want to give them. Or you may want to type out a paragraph and then put some spell some things incorrectly, and then have them go back and find those misspelled words, the grammar corrections, and have them go through and correct it and then submit it. So there's a lot that you could do with a Google document, depending on what your assignment is and what you want them to be working on. And you can assign this to each student, and then it would make a copy for them. So just depending on what you're working on, and that's what when you're going to create your assignment, if you need some help coming up with ideas, let me know, and I can give you some ideas of what, depending on your assignment, you could assign them using Google Documents. So let's go back to our Drive, and now we're going to take a look at Google Slides. And so we go ahead and create a new Google slide. And so this we could set up, the same way as a document where we can kind of lay everything out and have it ready for them. Now, if you want to put a theme in there, you can choose which theme, but I usually just leave it blank, and then the students can add a theme to it later once they are done. And so here, let's say we're doing a Native American tribes. And so we can put a title, Native American tribes. And then they would put their name here. And the same thing, it's still going to put their name on this if you create a copy for each one. And so I have my title slide, and then I click the plus to add another slide. And so let's say we're going to start with the Caddo. And you can either put directions here for what you want them to do, or you can put it down here in the notes and say, tell about the Caddo homes that they lived in. And then if you want to add a picture of what their homes looked like. Now, if you have not used the research tool, so let's go up to tools up here at the top. And actually sometimes it says research, and they've changed it to explore. So if you've updated yours, it'll say explore. And so it pulls up a Google search on the side here. And so I can do Caddo. Actually, there were the Caddo mounds. And so if we click on that, and then if we just click images, it's going to pull up images of what it's finding for the Caddo mounds. And so here, we have a couple pictures. It has some images of where they would be. So whatever you want them to pull in there, and they just can click and hold and drag that into there and just give it a second, create that image. Now it's obviously too big, so we shrink that down and we can put that in there. Now, you wouldn't put this in there for the student. You would just show them how to pull this up and have them do that research and put in the images and whatever it is that you want them to put into their slides. And so we have that image, and you can create several slides for, the Caddo. So one could be their homes, one can be their, the food that they ate, one could be their transportation, how they traveled, whatever information you want them to input into the slide. And then we create another one, and we say the Karankawa. And so now, same thing. We can either type it up here, what we want them to do, or we can put it in the notes. And same thing, tell what types of homes the Karankawa lived in. And so then type in, and I need to type in homes. If we go to images, now obviously you'll have to talk to the students. These aren't Karankawa homes, so they may need to work on their, what they are going to search, okay, and how to find what it is that they are looking for. And I believe if I remember correctly, the Karankawa lived in like a longhouse. So, and sometimes, you may, if you put too much in there, it may not come up with a good search. Let's see. And this is, a learning experience for the students and you as well, as you're going through trying to figure out, what you are going to, how to search, how to find what it is that you're looking for. And, and it doesn't always come up with exactly what you want. And so, just depending on, the search, so you can do a web search or just the images search. And, so hopefully you can find, whatever it is, the picture that you're looking for. And then once they find that, they can just click and drag that into their slide. So, if they're looking at this one here, and they drag that in, and we want to shrink it down a little bit, drag it into our slide where we want it, however they want to move it around. And if you want to, you can set the layout of the slides as well. So let's go up here let's close this, and then it'll pull it up here. And so we can change the layout. It's like if you want them to do a picture over here and then the text over here, and you don't have to change this. You can just show the students how to change it if you want them to do that. And you have, a lot of different options of how to set this up. And so like here, you put your image and take up as much space as you want. And then if you want them to work on transitions and, change the theme, they can do that. But that's kind of I always tell them once they are done putting the information and everything into the slide, then they can work on their transitions, their themes, all the extra stuff. But we want to make sure that they get the meat of the presentation done first before they go ahead and try to do the extra things. So just a couple real quick things that you can do setting this up. And just depending, like I said, with the docs, depending on your assignment, what you want the students working on is gonna depict how you want to lay out your presentation and how you want to lay out your slides. Now, you don't have to create a layout for them every time. You can just tell them create a Google Slides and tell them what you want. But if you want it in a specific order or laid out a specific way, then you would go through and create that layout. And then once you are ready to, you assign that to the students in your class. And so just, think about some different ways that you could use this with some of your assignments, how you can add that to, what your students are doing, and they can create a presentation instead of just, answering questions and writing it down in their journals or something like that. So if you have more questions about how to create a Google slide, what types of things you should put into it, anything like that, just make sure to ask, and we can kind of go over some more ideas and what you could be doing with your assignments to have your students creating those in class.